welcome to the DL Gaming Podcast. I'm Bobby.
I'm Amanda.
And I'm confused. We don't start this early. Instead of booze, I'm drinking coffee. Instead of being happy, I'm groggy. But we'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll work our way through this. How you guys doing?
Pretty good.
I feel like I'm better in the mornings. Got peak energy here. Starting fresh.
That's right.
Yeah, you look completely different. Usually you're yawning. You're like, I don't want to be here. Now you're fired up. As fired up as Bobby gets, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I second that. Although because of the time zone difference, it's noon. So I'm good. I've had a productive morning and gotten a bunch of shit done and I'm feeling great, feeling good.
Nice. After the longest winter I can ever remember in San Diego, suddenly it's summer. And it went from, cold days to, I don't know, what was it yesterday? Almost 100 out of nowhere.
Yeah,
So
it's getting warm. Everything's blooming and my allergies are killing me. So if I sneeze a lot this episode, that is why.
I'm the same way, dude. Welcome back to Allergy Talk, where we talk about sneezing. All right. Let's talk about some video games.
Video games. Yep. On the radar, games that have come to our attention. So, talk of the town, the big one we should probably address is Unrecord released some gameplay footage that has got everybody talking about whether or not it's real. It looks like it's a first person shooter. It's done in the style of body cam footage, and it looks very realistic. It's on Unreal 5 engine. I'm sure everybody's seen the trailer by now. So a lot of people are talking, is it real? Is it fake? Is this actually what the gameplay is going to look like? And the development studio, it's a French dev studio called Drama. And I don't know what else they've done, but they've got a Q&A up on their Steam page where they've addressed a lot of the questions people have. And they have said, yes, this was actual captured gameplay footage on the Unreal 5 engine. And we're speeding up development because of all the attention that we're getting now. So we want it to come out as soon as possible while everybody's still talking about it. Yeah, I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on this?
Well, they responded by showing, by running the game in Unreal 5 and kind of flying around and free camming and showing that it is a game and it absolutely is real. And also jumping in on spots where you can see in the video and then like doing things that were not in the video. So like waving the gun around and shooting at the ceiling and stuff, like silly stuff that you wouldn't, it would be hard to go and do with the however people were thinking they faked this. And then they do a couple things here to make a couple tricks. I mean, it looks great. It looks like real footage of real life. But like when you kill a bad guy, his face is blurred out. And one of the biggest problems with like photorealism in video games is like the uncanny valley, right? Like humans are very good at detecting humans, and if something's a little bit off, you're like, that doesn't look right. So if you completely blur the face, that completely gets rid of that. So now you're just dealing with objects. So there's that, and then there's the view. There's that cam view where you have this like real tight shot. I don't know how the gunplay is going to work because there's no cursor, or there's no reticle or anything. So
I feel like the gunplay is going to be ass, to be honest with you.
It might be.
Well, I mean, look at it. Like, I get that they're trying to go for like this realistic kind of thing, but even then, I just feel like the camera is a little too south. I get it; it's supposed to be a body cam, but like that's not where your eyes are if you were to be holding a gun. So to me, it already looks like fucking wonky to like play. Like this kind of just looks to me like a shock factor of like, look at how realistic this is, and we're going off of body cams. But I don't know, to me, like looking at the gameplay, I feel like it could play like Pavlov VR, which on one hand is fun, but on the other hand has a disconnect. And it's because it's not like the gunplay itself is I think probably just not what I'm used to, because I'm used to like having the cursor and Call of Duty and like Tarkov and things like that. And this is just a little far enough south of your normal vision that like to me, I think I wouldn't really enjoy actually playing this.
I think that's a really good point because I was thinking, even if it is, let's say the game came out tomorrow and you had a full game, full campaign, and it all looked like this, doesn't mean it's fun. You know,
Hmm.
it it kind of looks like a tech demo to me, like devs showing off what they can do.
In Unreal
And
5, I agree. It's like
yeah,
it looks
and
like a flex, not like a super fun game to me at least. Because also too, he's got like fucking noodle hands. Like he's shooting all over the goddamn place. Like it's just my aim is
uh,
shit as it is. I need Destiny 2 with all the aim assist, man. I can't, that's too much.
you never see your own character. You could be one of those like car salesman, fucking wacky arm blow up dolls. You
Yes.
have no idea.
Yeah, that's how I feel his arms are. The man needs to work on some fucking arm workouts so that way he can have more stability in his holding of the gun.
In his noodle arms.
Well, I think that's
Yeah,
what adds to
noodle
the
arms.
realism, though, because you take a game like the original Doom or Wolfenstein games, and they have the gun or like directly in the center of the screen, and then eventually, like they started putting the gun off to the side, but still the crosshair aims towards the center of the screen. And then in later games, they started adding a little movement, so it seems more realistic. But it seems a lot more natural. But yeah, who knows if this game is actually going to be fun to play? I mean, as we talked about last week, being super realistic doesn't necessarily translate to being a good game.
I agree.
I am surprised by like the game looks fantastic graphically, but then you look at the header image on the Steam page, and it looks like an asset flip. Like I am not impressed by that. Everybody head over to the Steam page and take a look at that, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It just looks so generic and underwhelming. They could probably improve on that. There's no release date on this game. There's no price on it. Like, not a whole lot is known besides this. I don't think they've talked about, other than speeding up development. I don't know if they've talked about when it'll be released, but yeah.
Well, all I know, they are like fielding. They're trying to get uh, investment, so they've put out some feelers, and there's like a big advertising for their small development crew. So
Were you
that's why I
guys
say it's
on
more like
the
of a tech demo.
were you guys on the like more political discussion, or not political, but the ethical discussion around like, what politicians usually say about video games being too realistic and violent? Like, is this like in that territory, or does it not really matter in the end?
I feel like they've been saying that shit since like the birth of rock and roll, right? Like it's no, watch out for the kids. It's gonna make them violent because they don't know the difference between reality and not. I think that they would be much more of an argument to stand if this was also in VR and it looked this realistic. That could definitely fuck with some people's heads long enough that stay in the game. But I'd argue that VR has the potential of doing that anyway, depending on how well designed the game is. And even then, I don't know. Like I can see that side of being concerned that this is too realistic, and I wonder if that's also why they actually blur the people's faces, because with this Unreal 5 looking so realistic, there's probably a chance that even if they randomized an NPC's face, that somebody actually fucking looks like that. And
Mhm.
so I wonder if that's part of it, but I don't know. It's kind of I like I said, I can kind of see both sides with it.
Everybody's going to be uploading pictures of their boss into, like, every bad guy is going to be their boss's face. I don't think it makes a difference, man. Uh, how good the graphics are when it comes to violence. If it does have any effect, I don't think there's much difference between, you know, uh, there is a level, like, obviously pixelated violence is way less impactful than like a Call of Duty, but I don't think there's a huge leap between a Call of Duty and this.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And I think it's a healthier outlet to let out rage onto video games than the real life anyway. So I
Mhm.
could see it helping, but I could also, like I said, I could see the argument of somebody that maybe does struggle already, the difference between reality or not, having a hard time with this. But at the same time, like I said, I mean, we people have been saying that for forever about violence, causing violent people because they're desensitized to it. Whereas, like, I would definitely want to see more um studies and like statistics to back that up, because people claim the same fucking thing about rock and roll. And so it's like is this that, or is there actual scientific finding in that now because things have changed, right? And so I don't know.
Bobby's the expert. He read a book.
Oh God. Assassination Nation. Yep, I
Yeah.
did read the book. You can skip that book. You don't need to read it. I mean, yeah, there's studies out there, and it's hard to really put much weight to it because it seems like there's studies that prove both sides of the argument. But I think a little common sense goes a long way here. Obviously, if you surround yourself with violent imagery, it does have an effect on you. Is that going to like make you go out and kill people? I mean, it's probably not going to be the instigating factor, like the key factor in that, but it's something to be aware of, especially with younger, more impressionable people.
Yeah.
Usually with these types of games and the controversy surrounding them, they end up being a big deal than it is worth it. I remember this game called Hatred that came out 2014, 2013. I don't know. It was a huge deal when it came out because it was by these I can't remember. They were somewhere up there around like the Norway, Scandinavian area. But they were making this game called Hatred, and it was like a response to the political correctness that they felt was infiltrating video games, and it was all about just running around and mass murdering people. And it was like big shock value, and everyone was like, "Oh my, harumph! Oh goodness!" And then the game came out, and it was a shitty game, and nobody talked about it. They ended up giving it away for free in like these bundle deals, and like nobody really played it or cared about it beyond the initial controversy. So I don't know. Obviously, like when games are more realistic, like yeah, it could have more of an effect on people, but I still don't think it ends up being that big of a deal. They did respond. The developers did respond in their FAQs on the Steam page about if there was any like political or social commentary on police, and they said this is for a global audience, so we're going to avoid anything like race discrimination, violence against women, or any sort of political controversy. So they're trying to steer clear of any of that. Um,
Well,
but
it's
still, it's like
clearly
body cam
aimed.
footage of a cop. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
How,
clearly
how
aimed at the pixel people, dude. The pixel people. It's like very racist versus pixel people
Yeah,
because
they're
they're
just
getting
shooting pics.
hosed down. Dude, you ever watch an old Dirty Harry movie? It is the most racist shit ever, dude. It's just like one white guy going around with a giant gun killing a bunch of black guys. It is fucking stark. It is so it's like gross to watch. Anyway, what was the last thing I was gonna say about this? I forgot. But we said Call of Duty a lot, and I want to talk about Immortals of Avium. Um, this is EA's new big IP that they're pushing. You can tell right away that the production value on this is like EA millions and millions of dollars went into this.
oh yeah.
Um, so it's like I think like a Call of Duty slash looter shooter magic based. So no guns. You're kind of dealing with spells. Um, you have like three forms of magic, and there's a lot of like hot swapping. You need red magic for this, blue magic for that, green magic for this, and it's almost like Doom Immortal or Doom 2016, more Doom Immortal, because you're swapping in order to attack certain types of enemies. So just constantly swap and jump in. There's like a lasso mechanic, so you can like get to far points or bring people to you. A lot of stuff we've already seen before, but the graphics on this is just like really high end. I mean, it's the minimum. Even the minimum specs are getting some. Let me see where it's at. So the minimum specs here are in uh, i7 9700, an RTX 2080 Super, and yeah, so that's a lot. Um, Bobby couldn't have run this before your upgrade, supposedly.
No,
And
my
then the
processor
recommended
or my graphics card.
recommended is a 3080 Ti. That's my card right there. So
Wow.
yeah, this is pushing it for sure.
This looks amazing though.
Yeah,
This
it
looks like
does. It
super
does.
fun.
It does look cool. The I saw the inventory screen and like the upgrading process, and it really reminded me of Destiny. It looks a lot like Destiny
Yeah.
on that, and that's the only thing really that's pushing the looter shooter for me. Well, there's 5 like items that you can upgrade constantly. Like it's like your bracer and like whatever, 3 totems and whatever, 2 rings or whatever, and you're constantly upgrading those. So yeah, I feel there is a campaign. I guess it's 25 hours long, and
Hmm.
then I think it's multiplayer. I don't know. I'm guessing it's got to be. It's got to be. But that's all I know so far. I looked around for people that have played it early on, but nope. There's only speculation and a little bit of information out there, but not a whole lot. The voice acting, they're using real, like tried and true actors, and
They're really
it,
good at that.
yeah,
Like the,
I mean,
like
you
Star Wars too.
you can see the $70 worth of value here, or whatever you want to call it. But whether or not it's going to be fun, I mean, it looks fun.
It looks
Well,
fun.
yeah, we'll see what
Also,
people say when it comes out.
for the record, it is single player.
It is single player. Wow,
Yep, single player and coming out July 20th.
that's crazy.
It's
Mm,
beautiful though. I love all of the intricate details with the different spells that they have. Like you have a little shield coming out of your hand and this bracer, and you can see it. There's like a different kind of language that's just slowly circulating around. That's cool.
yeah, it's cool. I did not see a single player game coming out because there's a lot less room for microtransactions in a single player game. So
Are,
that's what interested me.
are you guys seeing my screen? Doesn't this screenshot look exactly like that scene in the last Marvel movie, Infinity War?
I
Yeah.
thought the same thing. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm getting vibes.
Turns out you
guys.
are Thanos.
The whole thing. The first 30 seconds I was watching this, I was like, "This is a superhero game." That's like. Later on, I was like, "Oh, it's magic," but like it really felt like a scene. Exactly what you're saying. A
hmm
scene from that.
It's so cool how I don't know, it's interesting. It reminds me of like one of those things where you don't hear or think about something for a long amount of time and then you see it once and it's almost everywhere, right? And I feel like magic shooters are like on the rise maybe
Mm.
because that
Becoming a
brings
thing, yeah.
me yeah, it's becoming a thing because that brings me to my on the radar, which is a medieval VR, which is also a first person shooter but more magic based. It's completely built from the ground up for VR, and you are like this champion going through trying to take back like these lands and kill all of these evil creatures and things. I mean, it's definitely retro. It's certainly like
No, it's the
90s and
exact same graphics.
yeah. It's the exact same graphics. Yeah, it's on the Unreal Engine. Like it's not realistic at all. That's the kind of engine. Yeah. But it looks like a bunch of fun, especially in VR. And to do a magic shooter, especially in VR, I think is really fascinating.
Ooh.
It's out now. It came out on 420. What up? But no, it came out on April 20th, and it's got a introductory offer going on until the 27th. So in 4 more days, it'll end, and it is $18. And so this looks pretty interesting. They have like these. They call them like distinct episodes of different areas of settings and enemies and stuff, and that you're going through, kind of like different, I guess, 7 different levels. Like I suppose I'd put they have it they call it ludicrous magical weaponry, and so it just looks pretty fun and awesome, like a mix of Gorn and Pavlov or something, because it's a shooter, and so it looks dope.
I was surprised to see that there's jumping puzzles, platforming in it, because you don't see that very often in VR. There's like a
No.
trap where there was blades, and you have to duck under one and jump over another. So that was cool. I haven't seen that a lot.
Yeah, it kind of like watching the footage and stuff. It reminded me of like a mix between Doom, like the original Doom, but like Morrowind. And so with like things
Mm.
of Gorn in there, since there's like arenas as well, it seems. And so it just seems like a really cool game. And that's a medieval. If you can withstand standing a medieval.
Hmm.
Bobby, would like to talk?
Oh, I suppose.
Show us
All
that
right.
sun, buddy.
The only thing I got on the radar this week is the big patch that's coming to Dota 2. Remember that game?
Hmm.
So they dropped this last Thursday on 420, and it's the biggest patch the game has had in a very long time. It's going to change quite a few things. The most notable thing is the map's going to be 40% bigger. When I heard that, I thought, oh, they're just going to scale the map out. That doesn't sound fun. It's going to take even longer to get the lane. Or no, they're actually expanding the map on the edges, making it 40% bigger. It's basically adding a jungle around the map instead of in between the lanes in the middle of the map. Because of this, they're also adding a bunch of other new things. They're adding teleporters on either side of the map to help you get across. They are adding 2 Roshan pits instead of just the one on either side of the map. A lot more creeps, and the creeps are actually going to scale now. So they will be harder to kill later game. And I don't know, maybe they did drop more XP or gold or whatever. Yeah, I haven't played Dota 2 in a long time, but it's kind of funny because some of the things that they're adding remind me of Heroes of the Storm. So they're adding these things called Watchers. So a big thing, a big difference with Heroes of the Storm when that came out as a MOBA is instead of wards, they used vision points. So, like Smite or any other MOBA, you have to buy wards and you have to drop them around the jungle, and they give you vision so you can see if like an enemy is going to come in and gank you. And I never liked that. I never liked dealing with the shop in general in most MOBAs. But Heroes of the Storm, what they did is they had a capture point that you had to stand on, and then it gave you vision in that area. The enemy could come over and they could recapture it, and it would give them vision. So it created these points that you would have to fight over. So they're adding these things in Dota 2, and they're going to be called Watchers as well. But also they're God, Heroes of the Storm had a problem early on in the game, the stun lock meta, where the most effective way to play the game was just to take characters that had stuns and to stack them. So one person lands their stun, everybody starts damaging, the other person lands the next stun, and basically you just lock someone from doing anything while you kill them. And it's extremely unfun to or not fun to play against that. And maybe they're having the same problem in Dota 2 because they're drastically reducing stuns. They're just lowering all of them across the board. A lot of times people suggest diminishing returns on stuns. Like, okay, if they've recently been stunned, then the next stun doesn't last as long. And for some reason, I never see games go that route, at least in MOBAs. And they're not doing that here. They're just reducing the time of all stuns and just trying to make that less of a problem. And yeah, that's incredibly boring and stupid when you play into that. I feel like that's how it was when I was playing League recently too. Just like stunned for days, and then you don't even play the game. Like you just take your hands off the keyboard and wait to die.
I've got a mechanic that'll fix that, Bobby. The third stun that you're hit by should activate like a Super Mario star. So like instead of stunning you, you get super powered if they're like spamming you with stuns. And dude, how fun! Everybody turns to ghosts, like all the bad guys.
Maybe that's what they're worried about with diminishing returns, because eventually it would just be like you're immune to stuns.
Yeah, exactly. It's a slippery slope. I thought it was fun. Is another Pac-Man reference here. It's like it's funny after how many years of development they get to the point where if you get to one corner of the map, I guess you pop out at the other side, right, with the teleporter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's
you're gonna
total
need it
Pac-Man
here.
Yeah. Now that they're making it bigger. Yeah, they've also changed a little bit in the way that farming and kills work. So the kills earlier game are going to be worth more to try to encourage people to fight more. And farming late game, killing minions, is going to be worth less. So it's going to try to. I'm wondering if this is trying to speed up the game, like to get people late game to force them to team fight. Um, that's always why I liked Heroes of the Storm more than the other MOBAs. It just had more of a focus on fighting. And since I left the game and came back, I found that they even doubled down on that ideology, because I think I mentioned this previously, but I'll bring it up again. In Heroes of the Storm, when you kill minions, they leave little orbs of XP. So you don't even have to be in lane to get XP. And there's no gold in Heroes of the Storm too. So it's really just the XP from the minions. So that lets you go out and team fight more and then go back to lane and grab the XP. Now it disappears after a while or after a certain period of time becomes worth less, but they're really trying to push people into the almost like a, what do they call those games? A battle brawler, like Battle
Hmm.
Right or something, where it's just like nonstop fighting.
I mean, at a certain point, it becomes that, though, right?
I mean,
Because
every MOBA does late game. Like it all just becomes a 5v5 team fight for the most part. Unless like, I don't know, some games they do allow like these really weird like split push comps or things where you can sneak things. It's harder to do that in Heroes of the Storm, but I think in Dota you can definitely get away with that kind of stuff. Probably League as well. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of interested in going back to Dota now. Like I'm completely over League. I had a really bad game and it kind of reminded me how much I don't like that game. Like,
hmm.
why am I playing this? And that always happens. Like I play it for a little bit until I get like too into it and I start thinking strategy. And then I'm like, all right, now it's not fun anymore. But I don't know. I hate Dota 2 even more than League. I just, the characters feel so clunky to me and it feels like such a old artifact of a game. Like when you turn a character around, they've got to like stop, rotate their body, and then move back the other direction. I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, it just feels so clunky.
Bobby,
That's
it's
the
funny on the
thing.
notes it says Dota 2, but you meant to put Heroes of the Storm, right? Because you
Yeah, I
just
know.
used it as a as
Anytime I talk
a,
about
a
MOBAs, yeah,
vehicle. Use it as a vehicle to bring that up again. Yeah, I think that a big rule change and mixing something up from an old game can really bring a lot of new people back or old people that haven't played in a while back,
yeah.
like you. And then it's just so funny that this morning I was reading an article about baseball. I guess baseball changed a bunch of rules and
Oh, yeah, the pitch timer.
yeah,
Yeah, they're
pitch
trying to speed
timer
up the
and
game.
yeah, and a few other things. And apparently, it's making it way more exciting, and way more people are watching. So
Yeah, it's cut a half an hour off of games, they say. Usually a ball game would be like 3 hours, but and there is a lot of downtime, and a lot of that does happen between pitches. So yeah,
yeah,
they've got. I mean, the big change is the pitch timer. So I think you've got 15 seconds between pitches, 20 if there's a runner on base. But it's just to get the game going, man, because it's
yeah,
just like,
it was ridiculous.
yeah,
Yeah, we don't have time for that. We got video games at home. Why would we be here sitting and baking in the sun, man?
seriously.
Well, just
All
Speaking
right.
of baking in the sun, what are straight gods?
would have been better off to say, speaking of, sinking in the sun, is sunken land. But all right, sure, we'll
It
go with
is. It's
Stray
so much
Gods.
better. Let's go to Sunkenland. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, let's go to sunken land.
Because you bake in the sun because this is Waterworld. There is no shade. It's an interesting. It seems very ambitious. I hope these guys pull this off. But yeah, it seems like a lot. So it's a crafting survival game where it's a water world, and you start with a little platform, and then you go down and dive for artifacts to add to your base up top. I think it's a great uh, idea. I mean, as long as they implement it right. And then at a certain point in the videos, there's also like guns, and they go and like fight zombies on islands. I guess I would imagine the tougher loot is out there. Um, Conceptually, I think this is great. I don't know if these are the guys to do it. It doesn't look all that hot from what I'm seeing. I'm not just talking about graphics. Just some of the ideas seem
Well,
a
if you go
little
to
out there.
34 seconds in the trailer, even though this is a game where you have to swim and it takes place all in water, you still have to chop down trees,
Yes.
apparently. And that's when I bow
Check
out
out.
of these games.
Yeah. I mean, you could only chop down so many kelp forests, and before you have to bring on land, I guess. But ooh, that's cool. A gyrocopter. Bobby, you back in?
Okay, I'm listening.
But yeah, I mean, I hope they pull it off. I just don't know if I really like some things here, and I really don't like some things that I'm seeing. What about you guys? You guys are the crafting survival guys. What do you think?
Well, I'm not.
This
you.
looks like it's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Bobby, we already know you don't
I
like
mean,
chopping
who are
trees.
you referring
Whereas,
to as you guys?
yeah,
Well,
definitely not you.
Christian and Amanda.
Yeah,
Okay.
I am all about crafting survivals. That's one of my favorite genres. I think that looks pretty awesome. It kind
Mm,
of reminds me of PUBG with the graphics and the way that it
yeah.
kind of looks and shit. Which that might not bother me depending on how well it is, because it's pretty dope that you can like rip around in a jet ski. I would find that very funny. I'd love to make like a little floating metropolis and everybody just gets around with jet skis. I think that'd be hilarious. I wonder, like, I saw that they had something that looked a little like a mosasaur, like in the water, but I wonder if what other kind of creatures lurk in the water, because that could be really sick if you've got to worry about that as well, and like kind of a fresh take, I think, on a lot of the crafting survivals. And so I don't know, I'm gonna be keeping an eye on this. That just went right on my wish list, so thanks.
Nice. Yeah. Christian, you see yourself playing this?
I don't know. Maybe I would want to see what they're doing different than Raft. Is it just they're trying to be a little bit more realistic? They're trying to be like 7 Days to Die, but Waterworld.
Well,
Well,
Raft
Raft
is a
doesn't have
top-down,
any
right?
diving. I don't think.
Raft has no diving. Okay.
No, I don't think so. I think you just fish it. Everything's floating on the top. I think.
How convenient. Well, then, if
Yeah.
this is bringing diving to the world, then yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll keep an eye on it. I think I'm with you. Some of the things struck me as odd watching the trailer, but whatever. It's probably early, and we'll see where it goes.
I mean, look at
Yeah.
this base though.
It looks
If
pretty
that's
cool.
all, if that's
It
all
does look
like
pretty cool.
crafted by the player, that's super dope. We're talking for those not seeing what we're talking about. It looks like a water world type fort. You have your four walls and then all of your stuff inside, the barrels, the food, all that stuff. It's cool. Yeah. It looks like they scavenged some Victorian furniture from the bottom of the sea. That's great.
It does look really neat.
Yeah.
I'm
back on. I'm back on the boat. Like I like it. I like it.
I like it. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. And looks like, it looks like even if you were to fall pretty far astray of mainland, you'll still be all right. Unlike the game that I put, which is Stray Gods, the role playing musical. This is it's so weird. I think, I don't know, it's a RPG that's story rich, choices matter kind of adventure. It is hand illustrated. I think the artwork looks awesome, and that they did a good job, and it's a musical which I've so not used to. I don't think I've ever, it's always interesting to me playing any of the games that have music as a large element of at the part of the game, right? And this just looks interesting because you get the options to like bust out in song. So like you can rip out a solo, or you can like have everyone sing together, and it just seems like a really kind of new take on like these story driven RPGs. But like I said, the artwork looks really good. But what the fuck's it about, right? Well, it's about how you are this chick trying to find herself. She's a college dropout and she's just trying to find her place in the world. However, in this world, there are Greek gods that live among everyone, and you don't know who is and who isn't until they reveal themselves as to like whether they're a Greek god or not. And then you can kind of decide who your friends are, and really take, you can kind of see who you can trust or who's going to end up betraying you and things like that. So this looks like it's going to be a really interesting game, like I said, with the storyline being kind of solid, and seeing where your choices go.
I'm so sold. I'm sold 200%,
Yeah.
Like this looks awesome. My favorite series is that hook. Gods are among us and they're just regular people trying to go to the grocery store and buy potatoes, but Thor picks up a potato and he crushes it in his hand and he's like, "Ugh, I'm not made for this world." And like, I don't know, I just love that interplay. Like, yeah.
I do too. And I don't know if you noticed, but I have a feeling I know exactly who Zeus is. It was that fucking suave looking goddamn motherfucker, the blonde right there with his shirt out and his pecs showing. And like, yeah, he totally would be the kind of guy that would pick up a guitar like, "Hey ladies, I'm gonna play something for you." So I just love that this is like an urban fantasy setting. So it seems like it's gonna be a really good story. I hope it's at least on Game Pass as free, or like kind of on the cheaper side. I guess I don't know. I have to see how long it actually is gonna be.
This looks awesome. Bobby, you've acted in a couple of musicals. What do you think?
That's a lie, and you know it.
I know you as a singer and a poet.
Oh my god.
Can you believe?
He loves story. That's his favorite, right next to chopping down trees. If he can sing while chopping down trees, that's like his best spot.
I don't know. I don't know if this game's for me. It looks interesting, and I like the art style, but I never make it too far in these types of games.
Emilio, would you play this?
No, but I was interested in like what other games are based on musicals, so I did a quick search. Apparently, Muppets Treasure Island from 1996, Nightmare Before Christmas, Oogie's Revenge in 2004, and then
Ooh.
this one sounds pretty cool. 1996, Monty Python and the Quest for the Holy Grail.
Oh, they had a game for that? Awesome.
Yeah, I guess so. It's a CD-ROM.
That's pretty
Bobby's
cool.
peaked. For
No,
sure.
my neighbor had that game. I don't know if it was that particular one, but he had a Monty Python game, and it wasn't so much a game as just I don't know. Maybe we can look this up to see if this is what I'm remembering. But I remember he had this Monty Python CD-ROM, and it was more like an interactive thing. Like you click around and they make funny noises and say lines from the movie. But
Yeah, that's what this looks like.
yeah, it's not
Yeah.
much of a game.
Yeah, like an
So,
interactive
wow.
website, basically.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the first of its kind since the 90s then is what you're kind of telling me then.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything else.
That's cool.
I mean, there's a bunch, but nothing that I'm like, yeah, that's clearly a musical.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I just thought it was odd, it's kind of like I said, I mean, we don't normally see musicals and video games together. I think music being a big component of the game and the gameplay is somewhat rare in a way anyway, but I've been seeing kind of a rise with that, but this is a totally different take, so that's kind of cool. Something that I don't is it a totally different take or is it still the same Lego game, the Lego 2K Drive? Tell me about that, Emilio.
I think it's so professional. I think it's so I saw some video. There's not a whole lot. There's no gameplay out there. Very little gameplay. It is a Lego game that is a racing game, and you can build your own little vehicle however you want. This is clearly like a kid's multiplayer game. I get a sense of like Roblox in there. There's like different. There's like run over the aliens, and there's standard races, and there's like all kinds of like goofy little games that you can play inside of it. And I think it has like when you're playing Horizons, you'll see other people that are like ghosts of other people. It's called the Drivatar. It's so dumb, but you can kind of like honk at them, and then a race will just start between you and them. And then if they're online, it'll actually be them. But then if they're not online, it'll be their Drivatar, which is like a representation of their car that the AI is driving, and then you race them. And then whenever you log back in, you can see how your Drivatar did when you were offline. And I feel like that's
Oh.
what they're probably going to do here in Lego. Like you'll probably be driving around, you honk at somebody, and then a race just starts right there wherever you are, because it's an open world. You can just be driving around doing whatever you want, and then if you see somebody else, it says drive race anybody anytime. So I imagine they're going to do something very similar to that. But yeah, I mean, something to play with your kids. Seems pretty awesome. The guy in the video makes a hamburger shaped car and just drives that around. And of course, when you crash, the pieces fall off, and that's fun too. I think it's going to be a good kids game.
Now that
Late-
is pod racing. Yeah.
Yeah. That would that be yours, dude? Are you gonna make yourself a pod racer?
I would love to. I still
Yeah.
miss the Star Wars pod racing game. I played the shit out of that growing up. And
Me too. I did too.
Yeah, it was a
It was
good one.
dope. I also feel like this game's fine for child-free people too. I mean, did you watch it? That guy was driving a jet ski and then it turned into a cockmobile. That sounds pretty child-free to me, dude. That's pretty bitchin'. So it's
Ye-
pretty cool that you could just kind of change your cars like that, or is that just more of the promotional that they're showing in this video? I'm not
How are they
sure.
gonna stop the time to penis on this? Like, obviously, people are gonna make penis-shaped cars
the
pretty quickly.
The
I hope they
TTP.
do.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like, instant. It's
Yeah.
gonna be as soon as there's people probably like designing the code ready to launch as soon as it releases, dude.
there's like red flags in the code. Like as soon as somebody makes a shaft, a cylinder, they're like already like red flags are popping up.
Like, sir, this is a kid's game.
As soon as you're, I don't know. Again, yeah, like you were saying, I don't know if that's part of the just the promotional video, but as soon as your car hits water, it automatically transforms into the boat, and then I don't know if there's a flying component, but yeah,
It's pretty
fun
cool.
for kids. It looks like, or maybe even
You a
kids at
hater,
heart.
dude. Yeah.
Kids at heart.
Fun for anyone who wants to experience Lego racing.
Well, dude,
Exactly.
I was playing Lego the what is it called? The Saga something? The Skywalker Saga?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, I don't get it, you know? I don't get it.
Yeah.
Have you fully outgrown Legos in general?
It's fucking Mila made Fox the Phoenix yesterday. It's awesome. It's so cool. It's like, I don't know, maybe like 20 inches tall or something like that.
Oh wow.
And you there's a lever on it, and you pull the lever and the wings flap, but they don't flap like a little shitty toy, like full, like a bird would flap. It's really, really cool. I might go grab it and show it to you guys.
That's
while
dope.
you guys are talking.
Yeah. Well, that sounds cool.
Yep. You're not as cool as Highlights, which are games that we have played and we want to talk about. Is that what we say? I don't know.
That's right.
Bobby, don't talk too much about the Super Mario Brothers movie. I'm going to watch it right after this, actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's you can't really spoil that movie. That's the only thing I got to talk about. So maybe we should have someone else go first here because it looks like you guys have lots to talk about. I mean, the only thing that I've had like a super busy week. Next week's going to be better, but then the week after that's going to be terrible as well. But it's just been a lot of like Sea of Thieves mainly for me. I did hit Pirate Legend, so now I can do the Athena quest, and been having a lot of fun experiences there. But that's kind of been my gaming week aside from the movie I'll talk about later.
Did you buy the the pass system? What is
The Plunder Pass?
Plunder
No.
I still fucking love that so much. It gets me every time. I'm like in the shower and I'm like the plunder pass.
Yeah, dude, it's got alliteration. It works. It's on brand. Yeah, it's a great. They nailed it. No, I might get the Plunder Pass though because apparently, so you know the way that seasonal passes work all the time is that you unlock stuff as you play the game, but then if you pay a certain fee, then you unlock more stuff. This actually has a third layer where if you are a pirate legend and you've paid for the Plunder Pass, you unlock even more stuff. So now there's even more of an incentive for me to get it for this season. And I've maxed it out. So I don't know. I might. It'd be a pretty good deal.
I kind of see why they did that too, because I feel like people at the higher end don't get as much because they already put in the work, right, to get to that level.
They're trying to attract
So,
the VIPs.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And they're about to get Bobby, dude. If you're about to get Bobby, like you are doing a damn good job on your promotional
Right.
material. I'm glad Nick's not on this, so he wouldn't immediately disown me as his uncle. I played Atomic Heart on Game Pass. He came on and he was saying that a YouTuber from Ukraine came out with this video and just kind of threw these guys under the bus about being malware, about being propaganda, about just basically anything. But you got to also look at who you're getting your information from. They're at war right now. Obviously, they're going to be. He has a lot of incentive to find the worst shit about this and put it out there or whatever, just trying to hurt a Russian developer. I don't know. I don't know where it's at. I very much doubt that I was going to contract some malware through Game Pass. I think once you put that second layer on there, I'm guessing. I don't know, but I'm thinking I'm thinking Game Pass does not want to get the shit themselves sued into oblivion. So, yeah, I played it and I'm glad I did. It is right away. I was feeling vibes from BioShock Infinite. Like it's even a floating city, funny enough. They're kind of like islands, not really a city, and you can go in between them. But yeah, you go there and it's like this utopia, and obviously everybody's um, dominated by an ideology, and technology is the new god, and it looks great. It's working out great until till it doesn't. And as far as that whole part, I mean, I really enjoyed the whole intro. That ever since Half-Life, where you have that long train ride and you're just like looking at all these cool things everywhere around, and it's been done on so many games, and it's done on this game. You're on a boat and you're coming into the city, and it's such a great way to introduce you to a world, because you're on rails, and all you can do is look and experience, and you can't.
That's the same thing that Half-Life 1 or 2 did when you have
Yeah.
the tram ride at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. It's just I loved it. It was so well done, and I'm glad to get a video game from a different culture. It's just a little off, and I'm not saying it's bad or good. It's just a little different, and that's great. Seeing a different look from a different perspective, I guess. Some of their, it's retro futuristic, but their their use of shapes, certain shapes like round shapes, in this like techno world is really interesting. Anyway, I love the whole world of it. I liked the comedy is funny because it's a bit raunchy, and it's refreshing. Like, I haven't seen that in a long time, because one of your the robot that upgrades your guns and your abilities is also a sex bot, and so it's like constantly trying to jerk you off while you're trying to upgrade your guns, and you have to like calm it down and be like, no dude, like I want you to fix my guns. So you hack it, but every time he's like, fuck, I don't want to deal with this bitch again. And it's hilarious because it has all these like weird hands and stuff. It's great. I was laughing out loud. And then I think a little bit's lost in translation. The guy the main character is just cussing all the time, and there's like too much fucks in it, in a way where like they were just using it because that's how they think we speak or something like that, or the translation was off. But anyway, it makes it more funny. It's like when you watch something dubbed incorrectly, not to that extent, but like it's funny. There's parts where the fucks don't fit, and it makes it better.
The fucks always fit in. Come on.
The fucks always fit. Besides that, it's BioShock. I mean, you have your guns, you can upgrade your guns, you have your abilities, and you can upgrade your abilities. And I haven't got to the point where like I'm mixing them up too much. Like, I am shocking the robots and then hitting them with an axe and stuff like that. But there's not too much swapping right now. And in BioShock, I feel like you got your abilities kind of doled out to you at the pace and that they wanted. And this one, you can get any one you want, right? As long as you spend your points on that one. So they're all there. Like, you can go straight into pyromancy if you want, or you can go into the shield build or whatever you want. There's no, it doesn't matter. So in something like BioShock, you got the freeze ray when you needed the freeze ray because there was fire minions or whatever the fuck. And in this one, it's just like, figure it out. You go ahead. The combat's good. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. I think it's a very good game. Yeah, despite all political stuff.
It looks beautiful. It definitely is giving me BioShock Infinite vibes. That's for sure.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. It's been a long
yeah.
time since it's been 10 years since BioShock Infinite, probably. So
2013, yeah.
Yeah,
and the whole thing with unlocking the powers late in game, I never liked that too in BioShock, because what would happen is they give you an ability early in the game and you learn how to work with that ability and how to combo with it. and you get used to this pattern that you have of killing enemies. And then they introduce this other one later in the game, and yeah, there may be some opportunities or enemies that it works better against, but for the most part, it's like I've already figured out my combo. Like this is working just fine. The whole shock them and then run in with a wrench and kill them, like that's just how I've learned to play the game the entire time. And now you're like, well, try pyromancy, and it's like, well, why would I already know how to do this. So
Yeah, not just that, but those abilities are already maxed out. You've already maxed out your freeze ray or whatever it is. And this one, you kind of get to fuck around with more than one option, which is good. Yeah, and graphically great. Yeah, I got nothing bad to say about it, except for it being a little Russian quirky, and I love the Russian quirkiness. Look at this, like what are we watching here? So strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, that was really something. I don't know.
Kind of.
It's like this dude that looked like a unicorn almost, like just inserted his horn into like, I don't know, the gut of a woman-shaped robot and like almost unzipped her up. That was weird. Yeah, that was odd. That was an odd experience we all had together. And speaking of odd experiences that one could have when you're playing together, I'm gonna move right into my game that I played, which is Valheim. I revisited it. 180 hours was not 180 hours
Damn.
was not enough. So I'm back because they have the Mistlands out, which has been out for a hot minute, but to me, these kind of games, especially crafting survivals, it's all about the fucking community. I love the community if you can get a good group of people all playing together and sync. And so I joined one of the listeners, Fastidious, has his own server. And so I've joined his community and they've built, it's bringing me back, Christian, to like when we started and had our own like DLG one, because they too have like an entire town center and like almost this like commune going on. Like everybody has their own little plot of land that's like stacked on a hill. So we're designing like a city on a hill and it's lovely. We've got a like seaport and
a seaport trade.
I know.
We're opening up possibilities for the village. That is so great.
That's right. Yeah. It's so, and it's I guess like gated kind of how we're doing it, which is like everybody agrees on when we're all going to be together to complete the boss, because as you know with Valheim, whenever you complete one of the bosses, it makes all the enemies harder in the game. And so this way everybody kind of gets a shot to really get up to around the same area. That's why it's gated like that instead of, you know, we learn from our mistakes. I learned from my mistake. I went in too hard with this game when it first came out. And so now it's kind of nice to kind of like pull it back a little bit and be like, okay, all right, it's coming back, but like in steps. So I don't know. Would you revisit this game, Christian?
Oh, 100%, but I'm sticking by my guns that I'm revisiting it on 1.0 so I don't burn myself out. It's too awesome, you know? I run into things that are too awesome all the time, and I just have to look at my life and say, can I handle this awesomeness right now? And usually, no, I can't. I can't handle the awesomeness. I have to uninstall it. I have to get it away from me. And Valheim is like that. So if I'm going to put all that time into it again, it needs to be, I think, my last time in it. And because of that, I want it to have everything that they were going to put in it. So
Totally.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's totally fair, right? Because most likely on 1.0, everything's going to get wiped, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, these at the end of the day, I think crafting survivals are all like that and all the same. Like I think I've stated before, they remind me so much of like Zen gardens or designing a mandala or something like that. You put a ton of time into these intricate little things and designs, and then poof, it's just gone. Wipe it clean. That's life, though. We spend a ton of time working on shit, developing hobbies like
Building
friendships,
birds.
relationships, building yeah. and then it's just, you know, life changes. Exactly. And it's like, yeah, it's like Legos. You spend all this time designing
that
something beautiful
flapping
like that
is so
phoenix,
awesome.
and it's so dope. Yeah, like and then, you know, it'll get disassembled one day.
Bro, if Emilio broke that like the cup, I would quit this podcast forever.
Oh my God, right?
That would be so sad.
Wow.
It looks
It's amazing.
awesome. Nice.
Yeah.
Good job, Mila.
That is beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, he was just showing us the phoenix that Mila built in Legos and how you kind of crank it like a musical box or something, and it rotates its wings and it flies. It's awesome.
It plays the Harry Potter theme when you do it too.
Wow.
No, I was joking. That would be awesome.
It's the heavy metal version. It's like it's metal as fuck. Yeah. And so, I have no idea what the fuck Lunacid is about, or Lunacid. What is it?
I don't know.
Is
I
it
don't
something
know.
you take?
And here's the worst part, dude. I played it for like an hour and I still don't know what it is, honestly.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I talked about it last week where, sometimes these games are overwhelmingly positive. And a lot of the times they're like an homage to a past game. And that's exactly what this game is. It's an homage to something called King something. But it's from software. Um, the guys that make like um, the Dark Souls series. But before they made any Dark Souls games, they made this game, or the game that this is trying to emulate, which is called King something. I don't remember what it is. And so I was like, well, I don't know, 1,500 people can't be wrong. So I gave it a shot, and I get that it's difficult for sure. In the way, not like the combat is difficult or it's complex or anything, but there's no map and you're in a dungeon, like a maze dungeon. And so, and I had been drinking a little bit, not like I was drunk or anything, but I was fucking completely lost. Like I could not, and I just kept running around in the same tunnel over and over and over. And I'm not even going to take any points away from it for its graphics or for the sound. The sound was awful. I was down. I was down for an adventure, but I need a map, man. I'm old. Like, give me some GPS or something. And so I can't experience the game if I can't progress. Like, I'm literally lost. Maybe I'm gonna give it one more shot because maybe I was, wrong or something.
It's a time to enlist a cartographer beside you, or some help or some aid.
Yeah, it could be. It could be like one of those
Yeah.
games that are, it's like Myst, that
Yeah.
where you had to take notes and stuff. But it's not at the pace of Myst. But yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe I have to cartography my own adventures. I don't know. I want to show you guys. Oh yeah, I posted it. So the cat's making noise right here. So I was gonna grab it, move it, but she already taught me that I can't grab her and move her because she fucked me up last time, man. Like I had a huge bruise. I don't bruise very easily. Like I get hit by stuff all the time. One scratch and I had this huge bruise, but it's gone now.
That's
But
the
I did
cat
post it.
poison. That's the little bit of
Yeah.
the litter box mixture in the
Mhm.
cut.
Cat scratch
So
fever.
I can't recommend it. But if you want to see the origins of the Dark Souls series, I wouldn't even call it that because the combat is definitely not that. Um, but yeah, I don't know if it has if you played that Kings game and you like that, maybe you'll like this. But other than that, I can't recommend it.
Overwhelmingly positive. Wow.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong before.
How much is this game?
$7.
Oh,
So yeah, that's the other thing defending it really well. But
cool.
that's enough from me.
Well, speaking of defending, I will defend the Elderscrolls Online as being a wonderful MMO all goddamn day. I'm getting back into it. Necrom that's going to be coming out, I think, in a month, I want to say. Yeah, and so it is, yep, obviously Elder Scrolls MMO. It's been out for a long time. They just celebrated their 9-year anniversary and had their little Jubilee celebration. And I love coming back to this game every time they do the celebrations. It's fun. There's always a lot more people around. So it makes things like dolmens, which are like the Oblivion gates coming down and just massive mobs like that you have to clear with a whole bunch of random strangers, super fun. It makes PvP fun, and it makes like a lot of just the starter areas really active and a blast to revisit. And it's always interesting to me, and something I always love so much about this game is there's so many different ways to play it. Like I just started playing with one of my buddies who is an avid PvPer and like MMO, and he's got like all the right add-ons and all the right shit. And every time I play with him, it's just like I just feel like we're sliding through lukewarm butter. Like it's just everything is super easy, and it's like we just sync together. I mean, I've been playing this game for the whole 9 years that it's been out. And so with the two of us together, it's like nothing is hard. But that kind of takes away and it feels like you're cheesing the game, because the way that I've always played ESO is I've played it like it was Skyrim. I love playing this game solo and in first person and kind of just diving in, unless I go to dungeons or PvP, because obviously you want that 360 view around yourself to make sure no gankers come and get you and fuck you up from behind. So you got to watch your six. But otherwise, this game is so much fun to me to play in first person and to just really dive into the story. It's very obviously heavy on dialogue where it needs to be. And I've really enjoyed so many of the various DLCs. Like right now, I'm going through with another friend and we're kind of playing it like it is Skyrim, and we're just going through the whole Vardenfell story, and I feel super nostalgic because Morrowind is to this day the best fucking game I've ever played, and the game that got me really addicted into video games was Elderscrolls 3 Morrowind. And so to go back and have that nostalgic factor of riding around on a Dwemer Dwarven like a spider and, and like seeing Vivek, who I had like a massive crush on when I was a kid, like they're accessible and being able to talk to him, that sexy war poet, sorry. And it's just, yeah, right there they just showed Vivek. And so like I love this game. This game is, I will always come back to it at some point or another, play it for a while and then kind of get distracted probably with some bullshit like Valheim, and then come back to this at some point. But it's just, it continues to be great with the stuff that they're putting out, and I'm super excited for Necrom, so I'm getting back into it.
They, I think you nailed exactly how I like to play MMOs, and I never really thought about it. I like to solo. I like to solo a lot until it's time for like raiding and dungeons, and then that's where the multiplayer comes in. That's exactly how I like to play it. I feel like you're just waiting around in town for people. Like you could waste hours just fucking waiting around. I'd rather just go and adventure. It feels more of an
Absolutely.
adventure when you're solo, and then cooperatively in a dungeon. It's more of like a, I don't know. It's fun for sure. It's just a different kind of game at that point. But
It's a
yeah, I'd
different
rather.
style.
Yeah, exactly. What's your class? What do you play?
At the moment, I am checking out the Necromancer. I think the Necromancer came out with shit. It might have been High Isles. I can't remember what DLC or expansion the Necromancer class came out with, but I've been trying that. I have with my one buddy. I'm going more of like a sorcerer damage route of like a Grave Lord and like summoning and things like that. And then on the one where I am playing the game pretty close to solo, or at least diving in, I want to read the books. I want to like get into every single container and just get lost. Like that character is actually a necro tank, which I've never
Mm.
tried that. But you can use bones as armor and beef up, and I turn into this like colossal bone warrior creature as
Wow,
like
that
my
sounds awesome.
ultimate, and it's fucking sick.
Uh,
So I normally don't tank in games, but I figure, I've been playing this game for so long, like why not? I typically sit and play healer Templar, like that's my jam is that. Otherwise, I'm a really big fan of sorcerer, or I like being an assassin. However, I've never really fucked with a tank, and so I'm like, why not? And
yeah,
so it's
after all
been
those
really
years, why
fun.
not?
hmm It's been a lot of fun too. I'm like, oh shit, why haven't I tanked earlier? This is a blast. Like,
Speaking of Bethesda type games, I know that's actually made by ZeniMax, right?
yes.
But this was some news that came out. So in the newest Fallout 4 update on Steam, there repeatedly features the term New Vegas 2 on the chains list, whatever that means. So that keeps
Ooh.
popping up. And so, yeah, the term multiple times throughout this update, there's just like this subtext that says New Vegas 2. So I don't know. They haven't confirmed anything. Sometimes studios just kind of do this. Who was it? I think every time they data mine anything from Valve, there's all kinds of weird shit in there, like Half-Life
Mm,
3, but they're just trolling, I don't know if that's what this is, but
just
I,
generating hype for Redfall.
yeah, yeah. I think New Vegas has its own cult following. I mean, people really love that game. I
It's
wish
a
I
it's an amazing game, to be fair. Like it was definitely my favorite of the Fallout series.
I wish I got into it as much. It was just dumb prejudice on my part, because it was made by a different company, and when I played it I love Fallout 3. It was my favorite game of all time for a very long time. So then
That's a
when
great
New
one.
Vegas came out, it was built by somebody else, and then it didn't play the same right off the bat. And I was like, "What is this? This is so weird." And it just turned me off, and I never went back. And I regret it because obviously it was a great game.
Yeah. But I get that because, like, I go back and forth too with Fallout 3 and New Vegas. I mean, like, I feel like New Vegas is my favorite, but it is kind of splitting a hair almost. And so, but I liked that it was different. That was part of why I liked it so much.
And I was clearly wrong when Team Fortress 2 came out. I was like, "This is Team Fortress Classic. Like, this is so weird. I don't. I'm playing the like a video, like a cartoon. I don't like this at all." And then obviously it's one of the greatest games of all time now. So yeah, sometimes change is good.
I think
That's right.
this Fallout thing's got to be a troll. Like to publish a Steam depot with the name New Vegas 2 as like an update to New Vegas. Like that's got to be someone having a laugh.
It could be totally,
Or
could be.
maybe an
I mean,
awesome PR stunt too. Like subtle.
yeah,
Yeah.
Only time will tell.
Only time will tell.
And speaking
it
of
could
things
be
that are repeating time, you know, especially every time you die, tell me a bit more. You get a little bit further in Returnal?
no, actually the opposite. So I took about 2.5 weeks off, and I guess it's a credit to the game. It is a difficult game, and at 2.5 weeks off, fucking, you can tell. Shit, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even get 20% of the way of where I was before. Like my skills fell off so hard. Um, yeah, so now I know that I can't not return to Returnal. Like you need to play almost daily to keep those skills up to get anywhere because I am not slicing and dicing. I am. It's so bad. It's so bad. So just something to think about on certain games. Was it Doom Eternal? I left that for a month and I came back and I was like, "Oh, I cannot play this game anymore. I almost have to like start this game over to relearn how to play this game." I won't do it. It hasn't been that long in Returnal. I think it'll come back, but I do want to finish it. So now I know that I have to continuously play it in order to finish it. So
Sorry,
more Returnal.
what is finishing Returnal encompass? Is there like yeah, what does that mean?
Well, there's two gameplay loops, right? There's the Tower of Sisyphus, which is basically like a Binding of Isaac type roguelike. And I don't know what the end of that means, and I don't really care. Like it's just I'm just there for the action. And then the other side is this story. I don't want to say story heavy, but it's very mysterious. There is definitely a narrative that they're pushing, and they keep teasing at it, but you don't know what is going on. Things from your psyche are showing up on the planet, so you'll see, like your house that you grew up in is in the planet that you're stuck on. So like, why is that there? And then you'll have a lot of like flashbacks to hospitals and stuff like that. I think I know what's going on, but yeah, there's definitely a story that's going on, and she's going crazy. As you're playing, you're constantly finding dead bodies of your former clones or whatever they are over and over and over, and then sometimes you fight yourself and kill yourself, and she's kind of dealing with that and what that means. Like, am I killing myself? Am I killing, like, is that other person just trying to achieve what I'm achieving? And
That's
yeah,
super interesting. I didn't
it
know that
really
there
is,
was
man.
this story element to it. I just kind of thought it was a really well done, like action first person roguelike.
No, man, it's like a deep psychological thriller.
That's amazing. Wow, that
Yeah.
makes me want to play it. Awesome.
It's my game of the year for sure.
You could probably play it off of mine, Christian. I'm not playing this game. I don't like it.
That's
Okay.
because of the
We got
difficulty, though, right? Days, would you say?
It's too difficult, and dude, like, oh, it makes me rage if I have to like play the same fucking level every single time just to beat a dude because it's hard. Like, because it's hard, and that's the reason. Like, I don't like that.
Well,
I never liked Dark Souls because of that. And so, like, yeah, it's just not my style of game. And it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. It looks beautiful. but
That's
I
why we can
played
all
it.
come together here, different strokes, and we can all have a great time. And
Yeah,
I
if I'm gonna
think,
waste time, I want to waste it chopping down trees. Some
yeah,
really hard stuff. That's what I want. Is
exactly.
really difficult things like
Yeah,
chopping down trees and building a shed. All right.
yeah, exactly.
Bobby, question for you. What to this day are the best graphics you've seen on your computer? Not on a video, but like processing on your processors.
Processing on my processor.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Maybe the Star Wars game,
That's what,
Battlefront 2, but
me
uh,
too, dude. How has it been? What? I don't know. 8 years? That's a guess. 6 years since it came out,
2017, yeah.
and it's still the fucking best graphics we've seen.
Yeah.
It's insane to me that
Well, I even
that's
loaded
the
up
case.
Cyberpunk. I thought, maybe I'll, now that I've got the equipment, maybe I'll give this game another shot. And I mean, the graphics were all right. They weren't like, actually, they didn't even look that impressive. But what's impressive is just the amount of models and people and how it feels like you're in a lived in
Right. Yeah.
world. It's not necessarily the fidelity of the graphics.
Right.
Then I sat through like a 3.5 minute cutscene, just nonstop dialogue. And I was like, all right, I'm out. Can't do this
I
anymore.
mean, that's just the beginning of the game, though, right? That's just,
No,
isn't it?
dude. I jumped into the middle of a game. Like I picked up on a save and I felt like I needed to restart because all my talents had been reset. They've done so much to the game since I last played it. So I would have had to reset all my talents anyway. But I was like, all right, I'll just do a mission. I'll just jump into this like side quest or main mission, whatever's closest. And then this dude wouldn't stop talking. I was like, just let me know who you want me to kill, man. Like I'll go kill this guy. I don't need like a fucking
Too
5-chapter story about this. And it just like went on and on and on. And I'm just like, I have no idea who you're talking about or what. Like it was like an abrupt way to jump back into the game. So maybe if I started again, it would be better. But I do remember like I did have a problem with the game even before, just taking a long time. Like you have to go into this bar, you have to meet someone, they like tell you like there's a lot of small talk, like they order drinks. Like I'm like, just give me the fucking mission, bro. Like, come on, I want to go
Isn't there a
shoot people.
skip? There's
Yeah,
gotta be a
yeah.
dialogue
But
skip.
yeah, and at first I'm like, okay, all right, line of dialogue, all right, this is interesting. Then eventually I start like doing the fast read. I'm like, da 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 da, okay, da 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 da, and then eventually I'm just like skip, and then I'm just like, what am I even doing, dude? Like, why am I even playing this game?
Wow.
Like I feel like, I don't know. It's such a I do not sync well with that game. It just does not work for me.
I think I remember that quest with the dialogue in the middle of the game, and he says at the end of his spiel, he says he hates the forests, and he sends you out to go chop them. So maybe you're not missing,
Okay.
too much,
Tag team, send me out there.
Tag team.
All right. Well, that is it for highlights.
Oh, I don't think we talked about.
No, we didn't talk about the movie.
our
I gotta
brothers.
talk
Oh, sorry.
the Super Mario Bros. Movie. So I went and saw it, and yeah, it's pretty good, man. Like it's full of video game references for anyone who's played any Super Mario game. And I mean, Mario games have been around since like the early 80s. That's like the iconic video game characters. So like just about anybody, if you've played video games at any point in your life, you can relate to this movie on some level. And it is just jam packed. There are so many references. A lot of them you're not going to catch. A lot of them are really tiny in the background. I noticed a few of them, like he's playing this game called Jumpman at a certain point, which is like an early version of Mario. Luigi's ringtone is the GameCube startup sound. He goes to a place called Punch Out Pizzeria, and in the background, there's pictures up on the wall of like Glass Joe and all the other Punch Out characters. Just throughout the entire movie, it's constantly like this. But the animation also has that real punchy humor, kind of like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. I think works so well in animation. So it's pretty enjoyable. And at 90 minutes, it breezes by. So it doesn't, even though like it's a kid's movie and it's not terribly involved in any way with the story, it goes by quick enough that you don't get too bored. And the story is pretty standard. Like they just stuck to the basics, which I appreciate. You got these two plumbers. They start, they live in Brooklyn. They get teleported to this strange new world where they've got to save it from Bowser. Like it doesn't overcomplicate it. The first Mario movie. when this movie first was announced and the trailer came out, everybody was talking about Chris Pratt and not doing the Italian accent, right? I thought now that I've seen the movie, I understand why there was the confusion. So the movie starts right off the bat with a commercial for Super Mario Brothers plumbing, and they're doing the accent. It's a Mia Mario, they're doing the Italian accent. And then at the end of the commercial, the camera pulls out, it reveals Mario and Luigi. They're watching the commercial, then they start talking about how great it was and how they're going to get all this business from it. And they're talking in normal speaking voices. And Mario, I think, even says, like,
Wow.
do you think the accent was too much? And Luigi's like, nah, it was great. So, like, the real guys playing up the Italian, the Italian plumber side for the commercial.
That's hilarious, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Like, I did enjoy enjoy the movie, and of course, Jack Black's performance as Bowser was great. And he's got a little part where he sings.
That Peaches song has exploded, dude.
Yeah, and I saw that song. I saw the music video by Jack Black before I saw the movie, and I didn't think much of it. I'm like, oh, it's kind of funny. Then I saw the movie, and there's like, oh, there's context to it. Now it's just all over YouTube. It's like piano tutorial for Peaches song.
Yeah.
And it's
you
just
play
him
it,
like
Bob?
saying Peaches. No, it's not very difficult. I could probably learn it, but the other thing too that I noticed about this movie is in the original Mario game, you got a plumber from Brooklyn in this strange world trying to rescue a princess, right? And obviously you can't do the whole damsel in distress rescue a princess thing these days, like especially in a kids movie. So the princess, it's actually Luigi who gets ported to like the bad area and gets captured and needs to be rescued in this. And the princess is kind of like working with Mario, and I'm like, I'm watching this and I'm like, I totally get why they did this, and I feel like I would have heard about like some pushback on this, but I haven't really. Like, I'm surprised this wasn't like a talking point for Tucker
Right.
Carlson or something,
Yeah.
like, but
Are princesses doing the rescuing now? Is that what we're supposed to believe?
Jesus.
Breaking apart the family unit,
Oh,
guys.
God.
God.
Oh, man.
I don't know. I'm just surprised there wasn't a little more controversy about this, but it's funny how these things like blow up over kids' movies, at least in the Twitter world. Like, I'm not on Twitter, so maybe I'm just not aware of all this. But there was one thing. I'm watching the entire movie, and there were a few things where I'm just like, I don't get that reference, and I think it's because maybe I didn't play the later Mario game. So there's a part where he gets a cat suit where he's fighting Donkey Kong, and he gets a cat suit. And I'm like, I remember the Tanuki suit. I remember the frog suit. Didn't see that in the movie, no frog suit. But I don't remember a cat suit. But I looked it up, and yeah, I guess in like Super Mario 3D Galaxy or whatever, like it's a recent thing. He gets a cat suit. There was no Yoshi though, but let me just say, stay after the credits, and then you'll see they've got a post credits scene that I think teases a sequel, and also has Yoshi in it, kind of to a certain extent. But there's got to be a sequel to this movie. It did really well financially.
It was the
And
biggest animated movie opening ever.
Yeah, it did really well. It also is just a good movie. Like, it just works at many levels for like old gamers and also young kids. There's no way they don't make a sequel, because there's so much more that they can do with this. Like, there's a million stories they could tell in this world. So I don't know. And I got a feeling the sequel might even be better too. But yeah, man, good time. Emilio, you said you're going to see this movie soon?
In 3D at 1:00. Yeah.
Oh, in 3D.
Nice.
Yeah.
There were
That'd be
some
awesome.
scenes. So I'm watching the movie and I'm just like, was this supposed to be in 3D? This seems like one of those shots they do just to play up the 3D-ness of it. So I'm sure it's going to look great in that.
Yeah. Yeah, looking forward to that for sure.
There was a coworker that I had that went and saw it in like 4D with the moving seats
Oh,
and
yeah,
like
yeah.
shaking, and it like, she said it was insane. She went back and saw it again. 4D.
That's awesome. That's funny.
Yeah. I think that would be epic to see
I
that.
remember I've only seen one movie like that. It was Book of Eli, and it was like, why would it, right? But I don't know. It was like a promotional thing.
It's
And
so
there's this
fucking
part
random.
where like he kills something with an arrow, right? So like he knocks and he pulls it back, and your seat goes to the left as he's like pulling the bow back,
Ooh.
and then he shoots the arrow, and your seat goes like that, and then it hits the deer, and then it fucking hits like that. When I was like, "Whoa,
That's
what
pretty.
the fuck?
Oh wait, I'm
What
the
the
deer.
fuck
Cool.
just happened, dude?
I'm the deer.
You're first, you're the arrow and the bow, and then you're the deer. It
Oh,
was fucking
wow.
cool, man.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I have a great
That's
story about
dope.
Book of Eli that I won't tell now, but it involves me eating a whole tray of brownies and almost dying. So that movie is PTSD for me.
You wake up every morning. He was actually blind.
Okay, so pluggy time. If you liked any of the games that we talked about, or any of the games that we talked about on previous episodes, you know what you can do? You can go to Steam. You can tell those people that you love their game. You can leave a positive review, and you can hashtag it, hashtag DLG bump, just to let them know, that we talked about it and that influenced your decision to play it and enjoy it. And if you do that, take a picture, send it to me in Discord, and I'll share it with everyone. And I love doing that. I love seeing kind of the impact we can have, especially on smaller developers. So if you do, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And also, too, you can find our Discord by going to dlgaming.net, and there should be a link to the Discord there. And the final plug, or maybe the final, but another plug I have is DLGCon. I'm going to start talking about it a lot more. We're looking at houses. After this, we're going to whittle them down before I launch them for you guys, the listeners, or those that are interested in going can vote on which house that you want. And so stay tuned for that for this week. And like I said, keep an eye out on the the DLGCon planning channel that's in Discord, because that is where the information is going to be. It will be the first weekend of November. Sorry, I'm tongue twisted today, apparently. And so the first weekend of November is when it will be. That is Friday the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th is what we're looking at. That was voted on in the Discord. And so that is going to be the weekend.
In beautiful
So
San
feel free
Diego.
in beautiful San Diego.
I'll be coming from
so-
like 3 feet of snow to hopefully nice weather. Is it nice in San Diego in November? No idea.
On average, it's in the 70s. And
No,
so
don't know what
that's-
that means. Cold, hot.
Oh, it's
Very nice.
The
nice.
1970s.
It's very
1970s.
nice.
It's a lot of disco,
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah,
drugs.
it's very nice. But the 70 Fahrenheit is 21 Celsius, if that helps you and anyone else. listening that-
Wonderful. With the real
Yeah.
temperature. Thank you, Days, that I could have
Yeah,
looked up myself.
absolutely.
Thanks.
It's all good. Well, I figure we probably got some listeners that might want to know that too. But either way, you know what? It's fucking nice for November. That's what it is.
That's beautiful.
Because
That's
it's
beautiful
going to be
November
San
weather.
Diego.
Yeah.
Yes. And so, yeah, stay tuned for that. And so you'll be hearing a lot more about that. But I wanted to give a little update. And so, yeah.
Do we have any subs, Bobby?
We did. King Tyron, 8 months. He says, "Thank you for being the best gaming podcast in the world." I mean, we know we're number one in Estonia. Actually, I think number 6, but we're big in Estonia, guys.
Frequently,
Hell
we
yeah.
peak the charts in Estonia.
I don't know about the world, but
Does that
Thank
country
you.
still exist? Like the only time I ever hear about Estonia is on here.
when we top their charts, yeah, it still
oh
exists.
my god, not anymore, man. You don't even acknowledge them now.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's where our next DLG con should be, actually.
Yeah, thank you to our
Estonia.
7 listeners in Estonia. We appreciate and love you.
Yeah.
Oh boy. All right, let's get to some listener questions. So we still have that one for Nick, but he's not here today. So let's move right into one from Zap. Follow up from last week. What are your dates of birth and your mother's maiden name? Do people still use mother's maiden names as like the security questions?
Not as much, but it's still there for
It's
sure.
still
I think
there. It's still
government
an
still
option.
uses it. Yeah,
Oh,
but yeah,
okay.
not as much for sure.
Hmm.
Usually
Yeah.
it's the SSN now.
Yeah.
Do you have a
and,
social security number, Christian? I know it's not called that, but are you assigned the number as soon as you're born?
It is called a social insurance number, and we have them.
Mm.
Sins. We're all sinners
Sins.
up here. Yep.
That one's better than SSN.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Just one of many perks. So
I will give the first 3 numbers of mine, kind of. I'm not going to give it, but the
Wow.
area code for where I live is also the first 3 numbers of my social security
oh, it's
number.
like a puzzle. It's like a
Ooh.
doxing puzzle. Find it out.
So
Yeah.
I'll start like giving it to people, and they'll be like, "No, not your phone number," and I'll be like, "No, it's not my phone number. It's my SSN." But And then it's a whole fucking
You're like, I
Some-
swear I'm not stupid. You're being stupid.
yeah. I was at a friend's house. They would not believe that was it. They were like, "No, dude, you're confused." I was like, "Guys, I know. I wasn't even born in this area code." Anyway,
My birthday is my social security number. I'm just kidding. It's not. That would be actually much more wild. I don't know. I feel like it's hard to top, your phone number being pretty much your social security number too. That's pretty wild.
speaking of like, I never got this, and Sam's guilty of this. And a lot of people are. They'll be like, "No, don't do that. I don't want them to know where I live." And I always think like, what's special about you that like they care? Like all these houses are all filled with people. Like if they're gonna steal something, they could just. Why is it you? I don't get it. Like why you don't want them? Yes, obviously us on the fucking like on the
Big
internet.
in Estonia, we have to be very careful.
You don't want people to know where you live, but she'll be like, "No, don't have them deliver it here. Then they'll know where we live." It's like, there's nothing special about us. There's families in every house. I don't know. You guys get what I'm trying to say?
I think
Absolutely.
So. Yeah.
I function off of that. I don't like to give out too much information, which is why I will not be answering this question from Zap. But like, but
I'm
I
gonna
mean,
DM
at the
it to
same time,
Zappa.
like,
I like
I
that.
was fuck you. I was raised like one stranger danger era, so like just naturally distrusting. Two, I come from Michigan. We're superstitious as fuck. So like, yeah, I'm also not going to be super trusting that way. But then additionally too, like growing up as a female gamer might have been just different
yeah.
because I would get rape threats and all kinds of like death threats for just playing Call of Duty. So like I don't trust any of these hoes out here. Absolutely
for
not.
sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah.
Just being a female in general, sometimes if you're alone in the dark, walking down the street, it's a lot.
Well, you got to watch out for the cryptids when that happens. That's why I run full speed up the stairs with the lights off, because I'm terrified of, the Wendigo being behind me. So
Yeah.
The Wendigo.
Have we talked about? I've told that story several times on here. It's one
It's
of my
such a
favorite
good
stories.
story.
It's
Yeah.
my best story.
Well, I wouldn't go that
Okay.
far. Nipples to knees is a close.
Nipples to knees. is pretty good,
nipples
too.
to knees is my favorite story of yours. And you'll have to, if you don't know what the fuck we're talking about, well, that's the
DLG con.
NSFW. Yeah, that was the not suitable for work episode. You missed it. Maybe there'll be another one, but otherwise you should ask Emilio about it at DLG Con. What is the knees to nips?
If you don't know what a DLG con consists of, there's different phases. We have the arm wrestling phase, then we have Emilio Storio hour.
You're such an dude. It's like, yeah, we put
We have a
Emilio
cat
on
circle.
stage. He dances for us and he tells us stories, and that's it.
Go monkey, go!
We got grown man chicken being played in the pool.
Yeah, that's true. That was a
God
tournament.
damn!
That was a
Those
clash
are
of
some
titans.
big boys.
That was
It
We
was
have
a
big boys on our
Clash of
shoulders,
Titans.
man.
that was some. There's a lot of meat. Yeah. What did JPD say?
God.
There's a lot of meat in this pool.
So much meat.
We had compressed vertebrae after that, man.
Oh wow, yeah, a lot of water displacement. Another question from Zap. Can you tell us about a topic that you're an expert on, but no one else cares about? And please don't mention Warhammer or D&D. Yeah, a lot of people care about Warhammer and D&D, just not us.
I had to think about it. Maybe at some point I was an expert, but I think people also do care about this. Is like produce selection. I worked in produce for like 5 years, so I helped people select, fruits and vegetables and what they needed and stuff. So you kind of become a quasi expert, because if you don't know what it is, you usually just make it up. You'll be like, yeah, this is excellent in a stew. And
It's
so,
a banana.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, selecting like watermelons and pineapples and what don't buy in general, just don't buy things out of season. If I was gonna give you guys any kind of, you don't want to. You're gonna pay more for it, and it's not gonna taste as good. And if it does taste as good, it's probably artificial. So just buy things in season.
I'm not an expert in anything. I'm fucking boring and stupid.
You're really good on the internet, dude. You're like a internet guy. No?
I don't know what that means. And
Digital native.
the words you came out of
Hacker
your mouth
man.
disturb me. I've been getting into city planning lately, and I've been annoying my friends because I'll be like, "Oh, look, they put this breakaway thing here, so if cars hit this, roadway sign, it breaks away and it doesn't damage like the infrastructure beneath it.
Oh God, yeah, that does sound terrible.
Yeah.
For the
that's how,
record, I love that you do that actually, because I'm fascinated by public transit, and so that obviously has a a close relationship with city planning. And so to me, a lot of the stuff that you've posted have been like, wow, this is really fascinating.
Yeah.
It's neat.
So I love
It's
it.
neat.
But
It's super neat.
what do you call it? Christian, our fire hydrants are now ceramic at the base, so same reason.
Yeah.
So they just snap off instead of like destroying everything underneath. So that you can literally replace a fire hydrant that got hit by a car in like 20 minutes.
Which is amazing and so
Yeah.
cool. I'm definitely not an expert, still have a lot to learn, but I'm like really getting into it. And like the small details like that I think are the coolest, that like, it's like they walk among us. Like it's the design of where we live, man. It's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of walking among us, I think my favorite expert, or well, what I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but I'm certainly like incredibly fascinated about it. And we'll go down huge wormholes of it and learn a bunch of stuff is parasites and pathology. I mean, I do work in pathology, but specifically mostly cancer. But I'm really fascinated in like parasites and bacteria and viruses and the shit that could kill us. Cause I don't know, the human body is to me so incredibly fascinating, but just like the ocean and the surface, once you dive below it and you see all the coral reefs or like all the shit that's inside of our body, like it's still there. It's just you maybe weren't noticing it, you know what I mean? And so I like to look at that shit and be like, what are you doing? So,
I think I think this is true. There's more non-native cells inside of us than our own cells. So
yeah, we
we have
take a
more
lot from
bacteria
outside and put it
cells.
inside.
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy
Mhm.
just to think. So who's driving the bus? The passengers or the bus? Like
I
it's
think we
weird.
all are, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
just
I
like
think
when you
so.
do drive a vehicle, it's part you and part the vehicle.
It's a collaborative effort. Yeah.
It absolutely is. A symbiotic
Now,
relationship.
follow that, Bobby.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you an expert in, Bobby?
Almost
Um,
everything.
everything
Everything
that
he
nobody
touches.
cares about, dude. Like I'm always, it's like consistently everything that I get into, like really get into, is always the off version that nobody cares about of something. It's like when everyone was playing Counter Strike, I'm playing Day of Defeat. Everyone's playing Dota and League. I'm playing Heroes of the Storm. Everyone's playing Magic. I'm playing Star Wars customizable card game. It's just like I don't know, man. Like I just got weird taste, but I'm consistently like always the one playing like the less
Obscure thing.
popular version or like the worst version of the popular thing that's out there. So I don't know. Take a pick, man.
Mm.
But an expert, Bobby, I'm looking for how did you get into film? You're pretty smart on that.
I mean, yeah, just watching movies, but I mean, I don't know. That's not unpopular, right? Or that's not what's the question? But no one else cares about. Yeah, everybody, lots of people care about
I
movies.
think
That's
that's
true.
your region. Because at first, I'm not gonna lie, when I was a listener, I was like, "Man, Bobby's really into movies," and then I went to San Diego, and like, you guys are all really into movies.
Yeah, you should go to LA. LA's
No, I'm
wow.
not, but you're right. That is the hub.
Stay
That's
out
for
of LA.
sure.
Yeah, it's it just permeates. I was up there recently. I was going to the right by the LACMA is the Oscar or the Academy Award Museum. It's pretty new. So I went up there to check it out during spring break. And there's just everywhere you look, there's bus ads, billboards, like whatever the new TV show is or movie, like it's just all over the place. And then you sit down in a cafe and like I heard this guy talking to this old lady, and I thought like, hey, maybe he's taking his mom out to eat. And he's talking about like, oh yeah, and we're trying to catch it in the wide, and like he's talking about like shots and stuff. And then I'm listening to the conversation to the left of me, and it's like some guy who obviously works in the business too, and he's talking about stuff. Like everybody is just involved out there. It seems like I really like it. A lot of people don't, and a lot of people like actively dislike it. But like for me, it's just like I'm in like this fairy tale land.
Well, yeah,
Also,
because I mean, it's like where films are all recorded right there. So
yeah,
I mean, it makes
it's
sense.
the
It's
center.
Not as much
Mhm.
anymore, right? That's really going away, right, Bobby? I
Well,
mean,
I mean, films are
still
filmed
Hollywood.
like all over the place, wherever you get the good tax break. But I
yeah,
mean, a lot of
exactly.
production and a lot of like the business, yeah, it still happens in Hollywood, especially if it's just like commercials and stuff that can be filmed in a soundstage. Um,
Georgia did a
but
really good job with that. Georgia's like, as long as you show that peach at the beginning of whatever it is that you made, like you get a huge tax break, or if not,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
even
I mean,
some.
Vancouver is also a big spot. Romania, like a lot of places overseas, you can film in real cheap. But yeah, this reminds me though. I forgot to mention. I can't remember where I saw it. It was either on TV or I want to say it was a billboard or something. But I saw an advertisement for Super Nintendo Land at Universal Studios, and I remember they announced like a Nintendo World in Japan years ago, and I thought, oh, that looks really cool. But now they have this at Universal Studios, and we just bought tickets for the Hollywood Bowl. We're gonna go see the 10-year anniversary video game awards concert, right, in
So
June.
exciting. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, we just
and
bought
Universal
tickets.
Studios is not very far away, so maybe we want to consider checking that out. I've been to Universal Studios so many times that at a certain point I was just like, I can't go anymore. Like Halloween is the best time to go because they do those like haunted trails where you walk around and people spook you, and it's in Hollywood or Burbank, I think, and it's everybody like the costume design. They get like real actors. Like it's done up really well. It's the best version of that you can possibly experience, and they've got multiple ones. So Halloween's the best time to go to Universal Studios, but if they're in the summer, we might as well check it out for Super Nintendo Land.
Ray went, and I think he said it was great. So
Nice.
yeah, but that to tie everything in, that'd be a great thing to do on like a Saturday, and then go to the other thing on Sunday. And Sam's super down for this. So
Yeah, because the one thing I absolutely hate about Los Angeles is the traffic. And you like Google Maps it from San Diego, right? And it's like, oh yeah, you'll be up there like 2 hours. No, dude, like you try 3.5. And
dude,
every time I do it, I'm just like, I'm never doing this again. I'm never coming here again for the rest of my life. And then I always end up doing it
we are
again.
lucky though. It is kind of the epicenter for a lot of creativity, and you know, when I was telling Christian, I was like, why isn't Rian coming? Because like, when's the next time you're gonna come? It's not. I was gonna say once in a life, but it's not. He's probably gonna come down at least every 10 years because there's something always going on in LA.
Yeah.
Something huge.
We'll come again, and I do have to be careful about what I do without her too. I wouldn't want to,
It was Sam thought it was very romantic that you said, because he's dying to go to Star Wars Land, and I was like, dude, let's go to Star Wars Land while you're here. Like, why wouldn't you? And he's like, I don't want to be that happy without her being able to like see me that happy.
That's really sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, fuck off. Don't talk about this again.
I think it's a nice
That's really
thing. No,
nice,
that's
dude.
nice.
Yeah.
It's sweet.
I know she would be excited.
It's narcissistic and also like loving at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. My two best traits. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm super excited for this. I'm like, I don't know, should I be sketchy about staying in LA? Like, where do I rent like an Airbnb I'm looking at? Is there like parts I should, or is it mostly safe? Like, I know nothing about it really.
I don't know. It's huge. Man. It's kind of hard to. I don't know the neighborhoods that well, but LA is just huge. And I mean,
put it this way, dude. There's more people in LA than there is in Australia, or it's actually very close. It's 20 million. Just
so that sounds terrifying. But maybe if we've got some listeners that are from LA and wouldn't mind, steering Sniper Christian a little clear of the neighborhoods he should avoid, send a DM in Discord that might
give me
help.
your advice. Yeah.
Well, you can usually tell by the price, right? Like if something's pretty cheap.
Yeah, but I'm really cheap, so I'm like, oh, good deal, and then I'm like, wait,
don't be cheap on traveling, man. It's not worth it.
I think
Yes,
it's
no.
always
I
worked
love
out
this
for
new
me.
Bobby.
It's always
this new
worked out for me.
Bobby. I want to hang out with this new Bobby. Like this guy.
No, well, okay. So like as someone that travels a lot, you can't. It's not necessarily that you need to be spending like the most amount of money and that equates to safety, but you will be spending a lot of something. You're either going to spend a lot of money for convenience so that way you don't have to put much effort into it, or you're going to spend a lot of time researching to find the best spot. So either way, you will be spending a lot more. But I mean, I do think that you can find cheap places that are in safe areas. But yeah, you got to look, you got to dig. It's a puzzle.
It's a puzzle. Nice.
It is.
It's puzzling. All right. Next question from Hingle McCringleberry. Okay, this is a hypothetical here. You wake up in an escape room. You're told you can have a team of 2 partners to help you complete the room and get out in time. If you don't, you're trapped in there forever. They don't need to be from the same universe. Pick one main character and one NPC or supporting character.
Sherlock Holmes and Watson.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, you don't even need Watson at that point.
Yeah.
The only reason Watson exists in the Sherlock Holmes universe is for the audience,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
he
yeah. So you
explains.
understand.
Yeah, he's the common man that explains what Sherlock's doing.
And so he's going to explain it to Emilio how to escape.
Did you guys ever see the Sherlock Holmes that had Cumberbatch in it? 4 episodes, one like each one was a movie. Fantastic! It's so good,
Mhm.
really, really good. Well done.
Yeah, Martin Freeman as Watson, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of an old one. That was an old BBC show, but yeah, super popular. I don't know if you can get better than that. Like, you just take a detective, right? You know who was really good? So I went to and when we were in
Batman.
He's
Batman's a good answer.
Yeah, he's a
Like, Batman
detective,
would
and he's got the
literally just-
tools.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he not only does he have the mind, he has the tools. You would be out of there. Yeah, it'd probably be faster than Sherlock.
Yeah, but he doesn't seem like much fun to hang out with, though. I don't know about
Well,
Batman.
I'm not gonna suck Sherlock's dick right after we get out, dude. Like, hey, we're done here. Like, as soon as he gets me out, I'm like, this transaction is fucking done, dude.
It's
Yeah,
done.
see you later. Yeah, he doesn't seem like a fun person either.
Well, when we were in Vegas at a DLG con, we did an escape room, and I actually recently got an email from that escape room saying, like, some sort of advertisement thing. And I was
Yeah.
like, unsubscribe, come on, man.
Yeah,
Why
right, of
it would be
Don't have
years
time
later.
for this dialogue.
Yeah. But
Skip dialogue. Skip. Dude, do you wish you could do that at work too, Bobby? Just like fucking skip people fucking talking to you, just like get to the
Just
point.
hold down escape. Come on. I need to get out.
so sometimes, man, I don't know, like the department I work in, people don't, they're all kind of like me and they don't really waste time. But when you're not in a meeting with people from IT, they tend to, yeah, they can go on and on a bit. But when we did the escape room, I feel like JP Diddy solved most of the puzzles there.
Yeah, he's an engineer. He solves problems for a living. So
Mhm.
it's like if that's what if that's the tool that you're exercising all the time, you're gonna do pretty well. We played a little shout out to a little escape room game. John and I played it together, and shit, I would have to find the name, but it's actually really fun, and it was like it's up to 4 players, and yeah, it's just it was good. It's cheap. I'll find it and I'll while we're talking here.
All right. I think the characters that I would pick is I would have Cortana because I feel like she could scan the room and that would help, and then I just want dog meat as a support from Fallout, good boy.
Escape Academy is the game.
Ah,
Sorry. Yeah, it's good and cheap.
nice.
I have Qui-Gon Jinn and Jar Jar Binks who just cut us out with a lightsaber, and I would want to talk to Jar Jar Binks and say, "What's going upstairs here, man? You're approving.
Are you okay?
You're putting forward an emergency notion to the Senate to approve a clone army. Do you know democracy is at stake? Like, let's get it together." But whatever. We'll see.
I haven't done Jar Jar in a long time, but
Misa speak.
the ability to speak does not make one intelligent.
Yeah.
Okay, Hingle McCrinkleberry's got a follow-up question. What is the strangest meat you've eaten?
It's funny because like I'm always the one that jumps on this. I'm like, I've eaten this and that, but as far as meats, like how strange can you get? I guess. I mean, I've eaten
Human.
Yeah, but that's as strange as you can get.
That answer does not surprise me, Bobby.
No, that's not my answer. I'm just saying.
No. I think it was. I think.
Yeah, right.
I don't know the things.
I mean, they were dead when I got there, dude. Come on.
They were practically cooked. They were in the sun.
See, he is good at crafting survivals.
They said yes before they died, so it's all good.
He was an organ donor.
Alligator, ostrich. What else is there that's like readily available at like?
Yeah, alligator and ostrich and like they do ostrich burgers in a few places around here, but also like bison.
I don't
I
think I've
guess
had
isn't
horse. No, I haven't had horse
Doesn't sound very
or
good.
dog.
It's not weird for me, but it might be weird for you guys. Tell me if this is true. Moose or elk? Is that a common
fucking love moose.
game meats or like specialty meats available to you guys?
Yeah, you can't get moose in the United States.
That's a
far as
lie.
I
I get.
know.
Well, we do in Michigan. I
Well,
love
you're
moose.
basically Canada.
All right. Well, technically American. All right.
Technically, they get by on a technicality.
All right. We might be tapping maple trees, making maple syrup, and eating moose chili. All right, but we're still still part of the United States.
Christian, what did you think of that video that I sent you? That more Americans live further north than Canadians live.
Didn't surprise me. I hate Canadians. I think they're little bitches, and they definitely live. Most of them do live south of California, and it shows. That's what I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was shocking to me, dude. But
Yeah.
who cares?
Who
In the
cares?
long run, who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've had moose, elk, bison, alligator. I want to say I've had an emu burger, but I can't really remember if I liked it or if it was just tasted like the other meat.
Which is usually the case. Or a lot of times when I eat these like exotic meats or food or something, I'm like, oh yeah, there's a reason why people don't usually eat this. This is why we all stick to beef and chicken, because this other stuff tastes terrible.
I don't know, man. Moose tastes fucking delicious. I
Yeah.
love
Well, I've never
moose.
had
It's
moose,
good.
but it seems like a lot harder to get. I don't know. A little
When
more
you
rare.
see them, I watch video of moose, and they still seem fake. Like it doesn't seem like a real animal. Like it doesn't fit.
They're very
any,
real.
It's horseish. It's deerish. It's huge. It
It's
doesn't
like
make any sense.
unicorn.
Like it can't really like. It doesn't even know what size it should be because sometimes you see fucking mega ones that are like walking over trees, and then you see ones that look like a huge donkey. I don't.
You're asking too many
s-
questions, dude. You're getting
I'm so
too close to
confused.
the
Yeah, yeah,
truth.
yeah.
Just okay.
Yeah.
Moose,
You
moose,
could always.
dude, moose are real. Stop asking questions.
Yeah,
you're
you could just
you're
go
not gonna
to-
like what you find.
Yeah, and I mean, you could just travel to Isle Royale in Michigan, and like it's basically a moose island. They actually had to fly wolves in on a helicopter to like combat the overrunning of moose or meese, whatever, in
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 a
Isle Royale
helicopter.
because there's just too many. Yeah, dude. So before like
Yeah.
the well,
And it was
before,
neat.
like it was very neat. Well, because before like the lakes would ice over and wolves were able to get onto the island by just crossing over the ice, but then obviously with like the heating of the planet and shit, like they're just not icing over anymore like they used to, so wolves can't get out there to eat the moose and
Mm.
take them down and shit, and so they just went wild, and there's just so many moose or whatever on Isle Royale that like they had to reintroduce apex predators in order to kind of combat it. And Isle Royale is one of the least visited national parks in the United States besides shit up in Alaska. And so I mean it's not like humans are going there and hunting and killing moose. So if you don't believe in moose, just go to Isle Royale. There's too many of them.
Quick moose story. I was driving to Red Deer, which is in the middle of Edmonton and Calgary, and it's a place where you stop to pee. Nothing really crazy about it, but it has a river that goes through it called the Red Deer River, and I'm on the highway, and there's a moose on the highway, and I'm like, whoa. So I slow down because it's huge, and you don't want to hit it, and I don't want to spook it because we're on this bridge, but there's a car that goes past me and doesn't see it. I think they're pissed off that I've slowed down and put my hazards on, and they go past the moose, and the moose leaps. I mean, like, I don't know. They are like horses, and I didn't know that they were like that. A beautiful leap, 20 feet, and I don't think I'm exaggerating. Huge, but right over the bridge into the river, like
Oh my god.
plummeting
He just
below,
yeeted himself.
like 150 feet, like multiple stories. It's a big bridge, and
Well,
and-
I shouldn't ask this, but I guess it has to. Did you harvest the meat? Since you like it so much.
no, I called. I called Fish and Wildlife though, because I feel bad that it would go to waste. So you call them and they
There's a dead animal.
And that
Hey,
moose
guys,
meat's
there's a dead
delicious,
animal
dude.
in the forest.
Yeah.
yeah, like a moose yeeted himself off the bridge. You might find him down the bank, and he's like, "Yeah, maybe we will. We'll take a look. Thanks for calling it in."
What do you call it for? A self-eating moose.
Well, I
Yeah.
called and I said, I think I just saw a moose commit suicide. And the person I was talking to the other end said, "Why did you say it like that? Like that's the first thing he said. Like I don't care what happens, but yeah,
You're on the
personified.
wrong hotline.
yeah. Anyways,
Somebody's gonna be getting some velvety smooth meat later, because that shit is so smooth. It's delicious.
Two things. My favorite moose is Elliot Moose, and and I forgot the other one already. Let's move on.
All right, last question from Warconius. Please read this Steam review and let us know if you ever had this happen to you with a PC game, because a friend of a friend had a similar issue with Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball. Katsumi, I'll love you forever. So the review that he's referring to, I don't know what game this is for. I can't really see, but it looks like somebody is very attracted, very physically attracted to a character called Autis.
Oh, is this from the game Limbus?
No, but
Oh,
this
yeah.
this
I don't know.
review I will say is vulgar. It's vile. It disgusts me. It's I did not like reading. I did not like the experience of reading this review.
It's pretty graphic. Yeah. So I feel like this sparked a lot of conversation in the Discord of people talking about video game characters that they were attracted to. Um, Anybody want to talk about their particular video game character?
Yeah, first one, big crush on Sylvanas in Warcraft 3. That little portrait in the bottom right when you click on a character. I was raised in a Catholic family. I had to do Hail Marys for looking at the Sears catalog when I wasn't supposed to. You know which section that got me in trouble, probably. And when I was playing Warcraft 3, my parents thought it was safe, just cartoon violence, but they didn't know Sylvanas was going to be down there. And yeah.
It's funny because it's just like her face, and then her boobs start at her chin. Is that supposed to be her boobs?
I think so, yeah.
So it's like chin boobs and her face.
Chin boobs.
It's a ridiculous photo.
Yeah.
Or depiction. Amanda, you had a beach volleyball one, right? Dead or
Well,
Alive?
I wasn't allowed to play beach volleyball because I think my mom kind of caught on. But Dead or Alive 3 is what that's when I started realizing that I liked both girls and guys, because Hitomi and Katsumi were like loved it. Like they're
That's when jiggle
beautiful. They're
physics
beautiful.
were
Yeah.
like introduced, right?
They're so hot. And then additionally to Vivek from Morrowind, like I mentioned earlier, so hot. Yeah, but I think it was his poetry that really sold me. It's just his soul. Like he was
He's
a
a
warrior,
sensitive
but he
guy.
had a sensitive side. Yeah, I love that. And so those three were kind of my main ones. I couldn't really focus whenever Katsumi was I had to verse her. I was like, I can't focus.
So when you
so hot.
made your when you made your Morrowind fan fiction, was it racy?
No,
No.
it wasn't. It was like I
That
mean
guy?
it was, yeah, dude, I loved him. Yeah.
See why. I can see why.
He's got a dolphin thing going on.
What is it? What dolphins? I mean,
Dalsum.
oh,
Dalsim from
oh, I
Street
thought you
Fighter 2.
said dolphin. I was like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? Living your life with porpoise? I don't know.
He's got big beady
This guy
eyes.
needs a sensitive side. If he's gonna get
Well,
anything at
he's
all.
a war poet, so it's nice. Yep. Muscly man with a brain. I like that.
Bobby, I want you to come clean right now. Have you ever masturbated to a video game character in your life?
To a video game character? I don't believe so.
Are
Although
you
it
sure?
wouldn't surprise me. I don't know.
Seems like the answer is yes, and you're just not saying it.
No, I mean, probably. I don't remember a lot of my masturbation history, but I'm sure. As a young child, I'm sure. But what was that quote from Rick and Morty where he's like, "I masturbated to a curvy piece of wood the other day." I feel like that's every
Yeah.
young man.
Yeah,
But
for
there
sure.
was one game. It was called Fighting Vipers, and I'm trying to find the character. But there was like straight up upskirt shots in that game sometimes. Like if you'd kick one of the fighters, that like bounce back, and like it wasn't like we're talking about the Sega Saturn, so it couldn't really see much. God, what was that character? But also, I remember in Street Fighter 2, whenever Kimmy was introduced. Okay, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, it's like the Asian one. What did you type in? Fighting Vipers, and that came right up. Wow. Okay. Apparently, a lot of people have the same experience because that's like the screenshot right there that you were on. Also, like Street Fighter 2, whenever they introduced Cammy, she had this move where at the end, if you won a round, she would just like turn her back to the screen, and you realized like how she was wearing like a one piece, but it was like a straight up thong that she was wearing, and you didn't really notice it in profile.
Dude, the street people are already talking about her in Street Fighter 6 because she does this like back stretch that's just ridiculous after the fight. Obviously you should be stretching before the fight, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's getting a lot of attention. It's funny that's fighting games, it's like all these sexual characters are coming out of fighting games. But I've said this before, in Street Fighter 2 when it came to the Super Nintendo, there's if you jump with Chun-Li, there is a frame or two where it's just her bare butt, or it looks like one. I can't find it right now. But yeah, that was enough for me. You know, curvy piece of wood.
If you pause at the
And,
right frame,
yeah.
you can actually see her labia.
Yeah. Wow.
Dude, I did not expect you to say labia. You're like,
It's
I've
funny.
never. Your
I'm
Honor,
sorry, Christian. Does the woman's body make you uncomfortable?
No, it doesn't. It only makes it uncomfortable when you specifically say labia.
Yeah,
Just
it's
when
so
you
true.
say-
You're like, Your Honor, I've never masturbated to a video game. Also, labia. I'm just like,
Whoa. Guilty.
Okay, I found the character in Fighting Vipers. It was Honey.
of course.
Honey
course.
slash Candy. Okay, she's got two names. I don't know.
Oh, that okay.
The one in red?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
Because she's so sweet.
Yeah. You can by the way, with these graphics, you can barely tell it's female. But it's
The
the
boots.
triangle is right in the right spot that you're like, yeah.
Yeah,
know?
you put enough triangles together, it can be very
Make it
suggestive.
Laura
It's so
Croft.
true. Exactly. And that's another one. I would say another one. Laura Croft, definitely.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
was for a lot of people. I never played Tomb Raider games, but yeah.
Yeah. Somehow those pixels in that configuration was enough.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
I think
but-
that's an episode. Oh,
I'll
what?
give it one more. What is it? Gosh, she's like realistically beautiful and just really well crafted. Was the girl from Mass Effect?
Miranda?
Miranda. Yeah, I mean, just gorgeous. Unbelievably so, I guess. You know, it was more. No, I'm sorry, believably, but just like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I would like to be her friend. All right. So is that a show?
That's a wrap. What's everybody playing next week?
I'm gonna keep going with Atomic Heart. Guys, the amount of video games I get to play this week, I mean this right now is like 2 hours a week is what I'm
Oh,
putting in right now. So it's rough right now, guys. Sorry for the I don't have a lot of content. I'll be coming with a lot of radar and not a lot of content. It's just like I'm too busy.
I'll be
It's
coming
not
with a
that-
lot of content, not a lot of radar. So we'll balance each
that's
other
good.
out. Yeah.
Yes. We're yin and yang.
Yes. I mean, it's going to be all shit that everybody's probably heard enough about, though, because I want to definitely play some more Valheim, Small Lands, Destiny 2, and Elderscrolls Online. So,
Amanda, do you have my family share?
no, I don't. You have mine. This is a one sided friendship right now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have. Oh, you know what? It's not from me. It's from. I'm stealing it from JP Diddy. Anyway, it's called Tilt Brush. I've talked to you about it before, where you get to paint in 3D. In VR. So
Ooh.
yeah, it was very early on when as soon as like Valve came out with their first VR set, they came out with this Tilt Brush game. And I just think that you being artistic and stuff, I would love to see what you can come up with, but it never goes on sale. And it's always like $30 or whatever like that. So I don't know. I would like to see you try it. Maybe talk to John about sharing it because it might not be that great. It doesn't have the best reviews, but the idea of painting in 3D sounds amazing to me.
Yeah. I think that could be really, really cool. I'd love to
Yeah.
check that out.
Yeah.
All right. I still want to play Tainted Grail. I should have enough time to get to that this week. I also want to watch, now that I watched the Super Mario Brothers movie, I want to watch the original one from back in the 90s
boy.
because there was, yeah, I know. There was a special version of it released where they recovered a lot of lost footage. because that movie was kind of like a mess. But I want to watch this new version, the Morton and Jenkel cut. It's called. Those were the original directors of that movie. But yeah, hopefully some Tainted Grail and probably some Sea of Thieves. So if you want to play that, hit me up. You know, the problem that I've realized with that game is unfortunately, the more players that you have, the more difficult the game gets. So a lot of times when you're trying to bring people in, like, hey, there's a group of us, let's all play Sea of Thieves. If you have 4 people and you're going to be on a galleon, it is a lot harder than just 2 people on a sloop. So it's actually better if you're just like pairing up like one-on-one, or maybe if you have 3 people on a brig. But regardless, I'm always down to play. So if anyone wants to play, let me know.
Bobby, is that because more random events are happening because you have 4 players?
Well, the ship is
generating?
bigger, so there's more holes. You actually have to go down further. There's 2 levels in it, so you have to go down further to repair holes, and there's more places to catch on fire. So it can be like you can forget, like, oh, this part of the boat's on fire. It has 3 sails that you have to manage, both like the direction and the length of, as opposed to 2 on the brig or 1 on the sloop. There's more things to do.
Yeah.
And if you're a
makes
new
sense.
player, you already don't know what to do. So it's better to start on a sloop where it's
Mm.
just less to manage.
What's wrong with 4 people on the sloop?
You can't do it.
Oh.
If you can only have 1 to 2 on a sloop, 2 to 3 on a brig, and I mean, technically you could have like less, but recommended is 2 to 3 on a brig, and then 4 for a galleon.
Okay.
Yep. All right. I think that's it.
I think that is it. Speaking for Bobby, Christian, Amanda, and myself, Super Mario Tits. Bye, buddy. How old is all of them? I mean, he's like a 30-year-old clown, yeah?
Yeah. He seems a little young for him.